Hello, hello, hello. I am Hope, and I am so happy to be here. I don't have my tea. I normally have my tea, and I don't have my tea, but I was felt like now would be a really good time to come on. It's midday, and I like to come on and speak. So that is what I will do. And feeling confident in uncertainty. And I feel this message is powerful because it's something that I have experienced, I am experiencing. And when we're in that expectation of beautiful things happening and knowing that these things will happen, but we may not see them. And that feeling of like, there's great things, I feel great things, I'm on the cusp of great things, I know great things are happening to me in my life. I think that's because you can actually feel that before it arrives. And I am there. I am definitely there in that space of like the arrival of beautiful things, the arrival of the things you've been working towards, that you've been working on, that you have been inspired with in some way, and how powerful that can be to even know, like, this is working out for me, this will work out for me, it is something that I can do, and I am just going to act as if, because why not? And that's where I'm at right now. I love being in the sun, as you know, and I come on every day to give an inspirational word, and really a word of wisdom and of honesty of sometimes you'll just be tired. You'll be tired because the work towards the thing is tiring. It's tiring when you are believing and putting your efforts towards something and you know it's happening, but you don't see it. And the feeling of it being there is real, but not seen in your real life. Some people say in the 3D of that thing that you want. And what do you do? What do you do? Do you just say, let me give up and do something else? Let me try harder? Let me do less? What exactly is the next step? What is the next step when you have been showing up and you have been doing what you feel called to do, or if you're manifesting something or praying on something and you just don't see it? Anyone in the chat, let me know, what is your next step? Because it can be tough. It can be really tough. And me, as a positive person and as someone who is really being led on a journey, it's that testament of faith. Because why not you? Why not you? Why not it happen now? Because I have felt that feeling of like, okay, it's happening, but maybe it won't. You can't really be in both spaces. You can't be in the space of, I don't think it's going to work, but hopefully it will. That's even confusing for you. And it can be a space of like, I think when this space starts, it's a time to like do less, because I have found myself pushing and wanting to do more. and trying to like just show up more, just produce more, and that doesn't really help. I shared yesterday a story of my time as a flight attendant flying with this person who didn't have the most savory demeanor. So when I would see them, hello, Paulina, I would like not look forward to seeing them because they were rude to passengers. He would all sweat profusely. He would like almost he would go to sleep while standing up, and how I found a way to create a solution from that. And my solution was having a real honest conversation, having an honest conversation with the person of what is going on? How do you feel you are showing up for others? And it was powerful. It was a space for me to grow. Look at me yawning. I don't know why I feel tired. Um, Thank you, V does it. Thank you. Yeah, I again woke up in such a powerful space. And V does it comes into my lives. And we also have a lot of things that fall in common. When you come into my lives, I'll mention something. Thank you. And you'll say like, oh yeah, that happened to me. So I believe you just attract your tribe. I woke up with this really powerful energy of like everything is going great. There's great news being received. There's great things that are for me. And it was that surge of beautiful energy, especially in the morning. And I'll go for my walk and do my emails and do everything that I need to do. And with that expectancy of great things. And I was speaking to another speaker friend who had said, I don't think I'm going to do a competition anymore. And I'd shared about Toastmasters. I have a post about it. And being in competitions already is like a thing because you have the judges, you have other speakers, there's all of that. And then learning that it is a bit of like there's favorites and all of that. What I learned from that is just to show up in your fullest self. What's up, Nia? Just to show up in your fullest self. When I show up, it is purposeful, and there are times where I'm pushing myself. I'm pushing myself to show up. I'm pushing myself to be and feel what's up, what's up, what's up, how I want to feel. Because I'm the only one that can do that. I'm the only person in my life where I can just make that shift, where I can go in a space of, no, I'm feeling abundant. I'm not feeling in a space of lack. I don't want to feel in a space of lack. I am feeling powerful and full in every way. And I'll like speak it into the universe and to myself. And so I saw it today because I was just crossing the street, not at the crossing sign. And the cars all stopped. And I was like, yes, look at my power. I'm like making cars stop for me. And I also say this. If it's a man, they're going to let you cross because they want to look at your butt. If it's a woman, it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up on how she's feeling. But if it's a guy, he'll let you cross because he wants to look at your booty. Yeah, this day is giving abundance, and I keep speaking it into existence because sometimes it's in waves, and I do expect so much from me. It's not that I push myself, but I expect great things out of the day. I expect beautiful surprises. I expect just money. I expect a response from a brand or an event that I had emailed, I expect it. I expect it. I know it's coming and I just expect it. And I journaled that, like how I just expect this day to be beautiful, abundant, and perfect in all ways. Now, how that shows up is how it shows up. And I'm also wearing silk, which is my favorite textile. I got this cool silk shirt as I was thrifting a couple months ago. And so I also like that, putting on a new beautiful shirt. What's up, Mr. Stewart? So that beauty of like, no, this is happening. And I even have that push and pull of this is happening and I'll allow it to show up how it shows up, you know? Especially like with content creation, because that is a thing. Like, content creation is a hustle. Let me share that with you. Content creation is a hustle. It is that new hustle that I would relate to maybe in the 80s and 90s of people going into like the financial markets or the stock markets. It's a hustle. It's a hustle because it's constant. It's you get what you put into it. So it can be overtaking if you choose to be in a space of creating content. However, it can and often does benefit those that see it in that way, that see it as that job that they do. When I get up every day, I expect to come on to TikTok Live. In fact, I said I would come on twice today. So I'm on here now, and then I will come on a bit later. It is what I do. And so when you see it that way, how you show up is that way. That expectancy of I'll post and I'm not growing. Well, maybe what you're posting isn't interesting. This app is different in the sense that, yeah, you can capture anything, but there's somewhat of an art to it that I'm still learning. I mean, I would not say that I am the most established content creator at all. I will say that because I do it intentionally and purposely and daily, I'm learning in every moment. And that's with everything in life. If you're showing up to do something and you're showing up daily, consistently, you will grow. And also not looking at growth as these huge numbers. Growth can be one person. Growth can be one like. Growth can be the fact that you actually posted. From coming from a space of not posting or actually talking down to yourself. And even learning, like for me on this app, yes, it's positive. However, it is a little bit, it's all of me. I don't really have a niche, and I'm still learning that. But every time I post something, I'm learning. And good afternoon, Valentine. It's also learning that who are you serving? Are you serving yourself? Are you serving your audience? Do you have an audience to serve? I mean, if you're still growing, which I am open to just posting things that are helpful. And I'm always creating and putting things in drafts. There's the other thing. Because you won't know until you kind of hit a certain mark. So if anyone has 100 followers or 200 followers or 300, it is possibly just because you haven't found a way to serve possibly the app as well as yourself. If you're posting and you don't even like what you post, then that's the thing. Audrey, where or who does your good energy come from? It's a pleasure inadvertently to experience yours. It is purposeful. It comes from me, and thank you for asking that. It comes from my drive. It comes from everything I do. And I had just started doing a carousel about how I show up so confidently. Um, I am confident because of my habits. As I've explained, I don't sleep with my phone in my room. I will have my laptop and I listen to subliminals. I do not look at social media after a certain time or before a certain time in the morning. I am diligent about meditating right when I get up. I am diligent about journaling great things right when I get up and not, oh, I slept so terribly. No, I journal. Today is an exceptional day and I am living the life of my dreams. If you're not, the point is to get into that feeling, to feel it. So that's exactly what I write when I get up. And it's a full page of all of that, what I want to feel. I am so loved. I feel so safe. I feel so secure. I feel so abundant. There's abundance around me. I am in the best relationship of my life. Now, the thing is, you don't actually have to have these things. But when you're acting as if your imagination doesn't know the difference, and it's actually putting your brain in that space. I will say how fulfilled I feel, how beautiful I feel, how flexible I am, how healthy I am, how I've received the things that I'm going towards. Not I'm waiting on it, I want it, I have it, and it feels incredible. And then I always share about my I am statements. So I am worthy. I am loved. I am healthy. I am so incredibly successful. I am high self esteem and confidence in everything I do. I am happy to live life in this day. I am so abundant and fulfilled. I journal this every morning. And there are different variations. Today, I actually journaled the ask formations, like, why am I so healthy? Why is everything going my way? Why does money come to me in everything I do? Why does everything work out for me? Why do I feel so good in this moment? Why am I so loved and respected? Why am I feeling so good and so optimistic? Why is my hair so healthy? Why is my skin glowing and healthy and smooth? Exactly. But this is a diligent practice. This is a diligent practice. Then I go into my gratitude statements of I am grateful. I am grateful for this day. I'm grateful for all of my friends and family. I'm grateful for this relationship. I'm grateful for my bed. I'm grateful for the health that I feel in every moment. I write a full page of that and I go into meditation. Now, for me, meditation is just concentrating on breathing, and I'm lying in my bed, like with a hand here and a hand right above my belly button, eyes closed, deep breathing. Sometimes I'll listen to affirmations. Hello, Alfonso. And yes, I am incredible. I love that. Sometimes I'll listen to crystal sound bowls. Sometimes I'll listen to subliminals. One time I was listening to Shira, because I do listen to Shira 7 when she has her live streams on YouTube. And I do between 10 to 20, sometimes 30 minutes of that meditation. Now, that could be a prayer, that could be a chant, whatever you choose. But I do all of that before I even get out of bed. This is programmed. I immediately drink water and I speak power into my water. No, it's not learning, it's being, Audrey. Because, and thank you for these questions, it's just actually understanding that it's you. And I will always say my TED Talk, which is in my link in bio, explains it all. There's nothing outside of me that's giving me this. I believe it's me. And I am not a practicer of any Abrahamic religion or any religion in itself, but that's how I've claimed my power. Saying that because I did grow up in a religious household, but even that saying of, I'm glad that the Lord woke me up because he didn't have to, well, then that in itself, you would have to sit with that. I gain my power from being able to claim it. Being able to claim I am happy, I am healthy, I am success, even when I don't see it. Even when I don't see it. Even when I don't see it. I can be crying because there was moments over these past almost 6 months. No. I mean, maybe I haven't actually been in a relationship in 7 years. The last relationship that I was in was 5 years, and I've gone out with individuals, but I haven't been in a relationship for 7 years. And a relationship to me is a monogamous relationship with me and my partner for a year or more. So if I'm going out to dinner or talking on the phone with someone for like 2 months, that's not a relationship. I won't even say that's dating. I don't even give anyone that power, okay? Because I know how powerful I am. But yes, Mr. Stewart, even when I don't see it, when I was crying, sobbing, so connected to the pain that I was feeling from losing my father, I would say out loud, I'm learning from this, and I will sit with this discomfort. Yeah, I will sit with that discomfort, and I will say out loud, I know there's something I'm learning from this, and I'm thankful for what I am learning. So I may not see it now, but I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I am really, really positive, because what is the other option? For me to doubt myself? That doesn't bring anything that is positive for me. Here's the other thing. I've also built my life. So when I jokingly say I don't listen to people, I don't. I've always been and had great intelligence and trust of myself. So I never leaned into the fact that you need to do this, you need to go to school, you need to get this job. No, I know what I need. So I made that decision. If I'm not going to school, I'll still be successful. I get to decree the success in my life. It's not from what society says. I get to decree I'm successful, and I've had an incredible life. For me, saying, yeah, that school thing, I mean, I'm always learning. So I'm often in workshops or going to language schools, or when I lived in New York, I would go to a lot of the offerings that Google would offer. I'm offering always reading books, and I was always traveling. So I'm always expanding my mind. I'm not always here because, as I say, the US is crazy. But I've been grateful enough to build my life. So when I said I want to travel and help people, I didn't know it would come in the sense of being a flight attendant, but it did. And then trusting myself. When I told my parents I would no longer go to college, trusting myself that I'll take care of myself. I was still living at home, but then I had to pay for like my health insurance. That's not a problem for me. I am tough in that way, and I've built my life. When I moved to DC, I found that townhome, and I shared with my experiences, and I furnished it by calling the Salvation Army, and they furnished it. That built an armor of like, I can do anything. It doesn't have to be through money. It comes from me finding the way to make it happen, period. Not through someone else. This is coming through me. Now it's coming from what I've learned and trial and error, but it's the will to know that it will be me. I'm not leaning on anyone. Here's the other thing. I will accept help. Let me say that. I will accept help. And I often have it because I help others. And I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. If I've figured out traveling the entire world, moving around the world, experiencing, letting go of concepts that no longer serve me, having heartbreak, having all of these things just adds to the fact that, wow, I'm doing it. I did it. I will continue to do it. I will continue to do it. And if I don't feel it, I will fake it until I feel it. That's not even faking it, that's just shifting into gear. I don't really do casual. So I would not wake up and just put on sweats. If I'm waking up, I'm getting dressed. I'm getting into the shower. I speak affirmations into the water because water is a powerful, transformative thing. And so I will say I'm washing off anything that attached or isn't of its highest good through my sleep cycle. When I hop in the shower, it's showering me with abundance and beauty and strength and luck and everything I need for this day. And I speak it. I don't go in saying, I can't stand this. Today's the terror. I'm not speaking anything I don't want in my life. I'm also not having anyone I don't want in my life. And I deleted this. I'm going to put it back up. That includes family members. I don't care who you are. If I don't feel good around you, if my inner compass, my intuition tells me that this isn't the best thing for me to be around, I'm not being around you at all. At all. I don't play in that realm at all. I've shared that I have witnessed loss of life. I have witnessed and had my own close calls with near-death experiences. And I'm still growing in this mourning process of mourning the loss of my father. Even more so, I'm not having you around me if I don't want you around me. I don't need you to tell me this is where you should eat, this is what you should wear. I am not one of those people. I trust myself. Plus, a lot of this comes from traveling on my own. I've built my sense of self. I've built myself. When you see me, when you feel my words, when you see how I dress, it's because I've taken everything from what I've seen in life and comprised it into what you see. I don't need to look at an influencer to tell me what makeup I should wear or where I should travel or what I should wear or how I should do my hair or I've actually done it myself. So a lot of the energy you see is, first of all, I trust myself. Second of all, I'll cut you off if I don't feel that you are able to have access to me, including family. And I'm learning a lot since I have relocated back to my hometown, because what you will learn, what I have learned is I'd been away from my hometown for almost 20 years and outside of my parents' house. I am not similar. I am not the same. And that can be what it is. I stand strong in that. All of it. All of it. Every single one. Every single experience. There's not one thing. Life is a combination of everything. It's a combination, it's a sum total of all your experiences. So one of the tops was learning a language. Learning a language to me opens up a whole new world, because for me, it was uncomfortable because communication is imperative for me. So for me not to be able to communicate and learning and feeling uncomfortable and then actually seeing a different way of life through language, that was incredible. I also left this country for almost 10 years. That's another thing. I'm not connected to a lot of the stuff that is spoken about, because not only does it not It's not that it doesn't matter. I've just been outside of this social structure, so I see it completely differently. I am my own human being. I don't align to any one thing. I am hope. Ooh, Swahili. Jambo? I know a little of a lot. Yeah, yeah, Audrey. I know a little of a lot. So French, I can also get around with like little Portuguese, Spanish, even German, maybe some Dutch. There's a lot. I used to travel, be in these places all the time. And I also love African men. That's I don't, more than likely you will not. What's up? What's up? What's up? More than likely you, yeah. So I'm going to skip over that. Um, I haven't had much defeat because when I had a family member after I was the mistress of ceremonies at an event maybe 2, 3 weeks ago. And I had a family member who had said, oh, one of my friends told me that you were struggling when you were at the podium. Now, from even that statement, that's not beneficial. Yeah, I will too. I will too. That's not beneficial. Saying, "Hey, Hope, you were struggling behind the podium." There's nothing for me to benefit from that. So I already, from my perspective, that is something that I can detach from because it's not aiding my life. And if you are a family member or a friend, if it's not uplifting, enterprising, and positive, it has no reason being around me at all. At all. I also, a big thing of it probably is because my lack of going to school. Like, I just had to figure it out. And I've had an incredible life. A lot of the content that I see that says move to a country, it's great. However, speak to the people who have done it a couple of times or are 10, 20, 30 years into that journey of living abroad. Not saying that in your first 6 months or your first month that you do not know the same things, but things change. Sometimes you want to move back. Sometimes you learn things about yourself that were unexpected. There's all sorts of things. Yeah, and it's not that I'm too strong. It's just that I'm open to my growth. I'm open to my growth. Anything that I resist or I push back immediately, there's probably some growth there. There's probably some growth for me. This is why I don't argue with people. I'm also very confident and I do love and like myself. That's because I've had the ability to. I have not been around any of these people that knew me from childhood ever since the age of 22. So I've had the space to experiment with myself, experiment with how I show up, experiment with how I dress, experiment with how I talk, because I've never had anyone say, you weren't like that 10 years ago, stop being weird. I haven't had that. And I've purposely put myself in positions where I've had to grow. When you purposely put yourself in positions where you have to grow, meaning if I'm living in London, I have to grow because I am completely independent. There was someone that I had thought of this thought because this person has never been independent. Meaning if you had never, yeah. And there's that too. And there's a little difference because if it was military or if you were like in an exchange program with your school, you have that wall, not a wall of protection, but there's an extra wall because you are in the military or you're an exchange student. I didn't have that. I was working abroad, but outside of that job, I had to figure it out. I had to figure it out. And because of my accent, I do stand out. I'm clearly American. However, there was a person where I said, I cannot expect, I don't expect anyone to have the same outlook, but I can't expect someone who's never been completely independent. What's up, Miss Light? To see life from my perspective. Meaning, if you have never lived outside of your parents' home, if you've never lived out of what is familiar, that is a completely different scenario. Meaning, if you've only lived in your hometown, it would seem so foreign to not live in your hometown or your home state. It is a shift. You have to learn. You have to release. Thank you, Miss Light. You have to experience. You have to grow. It's uncomfortable. All of that comes from, well, I don't know if it stifles growth because there's still growth that will happen, but it's just a different type of growth. Here's the other thing. I know I'm really, really strong. For me to even step away from my job as a flight attendant, which is the most incredible career, and I share this because I don't know about clocking into a job every day. For 15 years, I was always with different colleagues and really in different spaces. I don't know that feeling of going to the same space for 5, 10, 15 years and being around. Thank you, Miss Light. Thank you. Yeah, I have on my silk. I'm real silky today. I only know diversity. I've never been in a space where I've seen the same people every day, whether it was the customers on the plane or the flight attendants I was flying with. There's like 30, 40,000 flight attendants at the company that I was with. You could fly with the same people, but you hardly did. So I had to shift every time, and I loved it. This is often why anything that comes to me, I just think of the solution. I don't say, why did this happen? You shouldn't have done that. I don't have time for that. I really don't. Ooh, Nantucket. I love that. Thank you, Miss Light. Thank you. I also wanted to get away from my family. Oh, that's a sign. It's like 2 fighter jets in unison. I wanted to get away from my family. I wanted. Yeah, I have like some, yeah, I love that. Moving fast, there's fast movement. Yeah, when I say I wanted to get away from my family, I did. And I do love my family, but I am not, there's often this thought of like, we have to stick together. Just because I go away from my family doesn't mean I am not sticking by them. Anyone who I select can call me and ask me for help at any time. But I am not under the understanding like family is everything. It is, it's helpful, and FaceTime is great, right? I've created my own family, and the biggest family is myself. I've had to really provide everything I need, whether it was me being my motivational speaker, me being my caregiver, me being my lover, me being my best friend, me being everything. And I love that because I don't ever say I can't go anywhere because I don't know anyone there. I don't care about that. I have me. I am the best resource I will ever have. Yeah. Because what's the other option, Audrey? What's the other option? A lot of people will convince you that you aren't powerful. A lot of people want to convince you to think the way they think. And as I said, there's a large amount of people that don't really think too much of themselves. They don't think highly of themselves. They don't think they can do anything. I believe I can do everything. Yeah, and I'm also okay with being with myself. I didn't say by myself. I said with myself. I love that. This whole thing, I've been celibate for years. Like, there's a lot of, and I will make content about that. There was even something that restricted me from saying that. The other thing is, I'm not just out here. I've been with very notable people that are known. However, I know for me as a woman, my power. I know my power. And I had a friend who said, Hope, well, I have needs. I said, yeah, but your needs are leaving you crying every day in the shower and the bed. Like, I can override that, and I have fantastic toys, but it's not really about celibacy for me, because if I'm not fully one with an individual, there is no intimacy, period. I'm not just out trying to gain that love or respect from anyone. No. This is why the gentlemen that are with me, they know they got something good, because they even had to work probably years for it. And how you choose to release your power and energy is an individual thing. That's an individual thing. I don't think that you're more or less depending on your own intimate activity. It comes down to the individual. However, there's a power. I don't want you near me, let alone in my body. And I remember there was an instance where I said, why? There was two. Thank you. I'll make some content about this, because I felt resistance on posting about celibacy. Because it's not really, it's just like, typically if I'm not in a relationship, I'm not involved in intimacy. I don't respond well to just casual intimacy. I know that for a fact. I also know I choose not to have intimacy outside of my closed relationship. And I know that because I've done the opposite. So I'm not saying this is how it's always been. I'm saying I know these choices because I've made choices that have led me to say, oh, this is the best option, period. Period. And there's so much intimacy of being with oneself. Also, that release, which there's wonderful toys on the market. There's wonderful, wonderful toys on the market, ladies. Like, as soon as you find out some of these new apparatuses, you will see that it is not really necessary, like someone farting and just laying there. But that can be a creative outlet. That release is also a creative outlet. Yeah, there's some lovely toys. There's some lovely ways to release if you would like. And for me, it's not about not wanting a man. I do love a gentleman in my life when it's correct and it just works. Outside of that, I know and I trust myself. And it's also that outlet. Maybe that outlet is working out or creating. There's other ways to have that release. And there are, Paulina. Also, like, you decide. Like, it's picking and choosing for yourself. But I do know there was two instances. There was one where I just wanted attention from a man, and I was acting as if I was acting out of my power. I was acting out of my power. And someone had introduced me to this person, and I was like doing the opposite of what I typically do. Like, I don't. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. That is very true. And thank you, Miss Light. I just was acting out of my character because I wanted to be chosen. And this person was like probably depressed. And after our intertwining intimacy, I felt this sadness. And I was like, where is this coming from? You never know what you could. You may just pick up someone's energy, and I'm not with that. I'm not with that. And I purposely said, you know what? I need to work on me. I need to work on me. Um, I got to work on me. And there was another instance where I said, why do I feel so sad and alone after this not working out? And it was, oh, I want him to choose me. I want to feel chosen. Why do I want to feel chosen? Because I feel valued when this man chooses me. And that's when I pulled back and said, I got to pour back into myself. And that was like 2019. That was 2019. Definitely. I'm definitely deep into a spiritual path where I feel energies. Um, what is it? Hope Monet. You got it right. The Cash App is HOPE Monet. Miss Light, thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, in my link in bio, I have like Buy Me a Coffee, which is just like Cash App. You can donate there. I've changed all of my links. However, no, thank you, Miss Light. You've done absolutely spectacular. You are like my hype woman, so I appreciate it. But I'm sharing this, and I'll make a piece about this because I felt restricted. There's some things that I felt restricted to talk about, but if it was with celibacy, it's been years. Let's see, what, 5 years? But it's not like I even count because I've always gone these long times without. If I'm in a relationship, then I'm obviously encountering intimacy. If I'm not, I don't really think about it. And I've always had a great toy. Here's the other thing. As a flight attendant, we always have a great toy in our bag that has been exposed a few times. That is a funny story because I remember my niece and my sister came to see me on a layover, and the driver from the hotel transport took my bag out, thank you, and put it on the ground, and my suitcase began to vibrate. And my niece was like, Auntie, why is your bag vibrating? I was like, it's my toothbrush. It's my toothbrush. Come on, baby, get away from my bag. It's my toothbrush. That self-pleasure is fantastic. It's a way of learning yourself. So I can speak about that, but I don't really think it's that big of a deal because I've always known that. Yeah. And I've had relationships dominate my mind. I've had really incredible relationships. I've had a few, and they've usually, it was funny. It was hilarious. I think that time it wasn't my toothbrush, but one time it was my toothbrush. I'm typically in relationships for years, like 3, 4, 5 years, and then I'll separate and I'll be single for like 2, 3 years. So it's not something that I just crave. I can pleasure myself and I'm all for that and learning my body. And I think it's a beautiful thing for a woman to know her body because there's several men that will not know your body or whatever gender that you choose to go on that path of intimacy with. So it's important to know your body, to show someone and to say, this is what I do or don't like. But with celibacy, it's not even something that I really think of. It's not even something that I really think of because I ain't like, dude, are you serious? No. And I've shared this. If I am dating someone, there is no intimacy. Of course, we can kiss and hug, but I don't to be physically intimate while trying to be in a relationship. And here's the other thing, a lot of y'all are twisted. Your outlook on a relationship and love is so twisted. And I'm grateful and lucky enough that I had such an incredible example that I know what to build upon. And I took from my parents' example, but I've also been out in the world where I've said, okay, I'll have that as an example, but I can let go of this and I want this. I can let go of this and I want this. I know what I want. It's not all about you pay for everything, we go out for dinners and buy me flowers. That's great, but real stuff happens. I've seen it. My parents were together for 45 years. What happens when you invest, if you're an entrepreneur and you invest your life savings into something and it doesn't work and you have 4 kids? What happens then? You're going to walk because this person had this big idea? What happens then? What happens when your partner has been suffering from a mental illness that they were unaware of? My father had post-traumatic stress disorder because he was a war veteran, but no one knew that at that time. No one knew that. So it would show up in different ways. And I'm the daughter of someone who is a war veteran. I think that's a bit of why I am really adverse to violence. Like, I don't watch violent shows or I don't really watch movies and TV, but I don't like seeing it. I don't like being around it. It creates a huge feeling of discomfort. Thank you, Stacy, for the follow. I also have post-traumatic stress disorder after my emergency landing, which my father could help me through, as well as therapy. There you go. And if bees are around you, that says something beautiful about you. Relationships are more than what you see on this app talking about he pays for all the meals and trips. That is great. My father did all of that. I've seen all of that. But there's some real stuff that goes on. What happens when you've been with someone and then they have a stroke and they completely change? What happens if you're with someone that you love and there's a car accident and now they're paralyzed from the neck down? There's some real stuff that you really have to sit with. Aside from the stuff that you see on this app. What happens well, forever doesn't always mean forever. It doesn't have to. Forever, my dad would say, take your time getting to forever, because forever is a long time. No one knows what forever means. No one knows. No one knows. And maybe it's not forever. I've seen things on apps that said, in the good old days, women stuck by. In the good old days, women didn't have a choice. You have to understand, I'm really the first generation, and I was born in 1983, where I've had the choice. Women weren't even able to have a checking account without the permission of their husband or father since, I think, 1974. You couldn't just get divorced and get a bank account and buy a house. That wasn't possible. So our grannies and our mothers and our grandmothers didn't have the choice. If they wanted to leave their family's home, this was the only way. So please understand that. A lot of these women were pioneers because they were doing what they had to do, not what they wanted to do. Yeah, but sometimes it's not. I mean, I understand that, but sometimes it's not. And there's even that space of I love you and I'm okay with not being with you. I did say forever. I did go into it thinking that it was forever. And I don't want to be with you anymore. There's that element too. And even the acceptance, a lot of times what I hear with love, it is acceptance of constant bad behavior. I don't ever find it powerful to say, I love you, I'm going to see past your infidelity, cheating, verbal abuse. I'm not going to love you out of that. I am someone who said, yeah, I loved you, but I'm not one to see past cheating. Sure, you cheat on me, I'll cheat on you. Now we're even. Now what? Now where are we going? How are we doing on that? Because you did it, I did it. Now how do we feel? And they don't usually respond so well to that. But love doesn't override bad behavior to me. And I do understand we made this commitment. I do understand that. But from my perspective as a woman, oftentimes love means excusing ridiculously terrible, harmful behavior just to ensure that we love each other and stay together. I'm not with it. This is why I'm currently not married. And I've been proposed to. I'm not accepting abuse. Now, maybe we can work something out, but something consistently over 30 years where there's constant bad behavior, that ain't working for me. That's not working for me. Here's the other thing. Financial abuse is a real thing. I'm still growing out of that because I was spoiled. I'm like a suburbia kid. I did not have the struggle. This is why I want what I want. I want what I want and I will work for it. However, I was also told, I got this for you, I can take it away. That is a part of, to me, financial abuse, but why I choose to say, I can get it for myself. My partner will always be able to provide for myself, and it's imperative that I can provide for myself as well. It's both. It's both. It's both. Financial abuse is a thing. And there have been times where women just can't leave because what am I supposed to do? This man's taking care of me. I did not set up any skills where if I leave, I have something to fall back on. I know people who are in that space or didn't build credit or everything was in his name. Listen, it's individual for everyone, but there's a reality in building what a partnership and love looks like for you. And not this one size fits all, love just is everything. It's great, but then there's the day-to-day things. And I believe this is individual for us each. Thank you, Eric Banks, for your gift. I did receive it. Thank you. What I'm saying is not one size fits all for everyone. You get to decide what works for you. You get to decide what works for you. It is really hurtful to be violated in the way of we have a connection and I am maintaining that connection to you, and the selfish behavior results in infidelity or cheating or anything like that. That is really hurtful. I have never found a space to get over it. I don't know if you ever get over it. I think time passes, but that is incredibly harmful for me. I also did not see that in my household, so I don't normalize that. I also have cheated on most of my partners, so I'm speaking of that. And listen, if the soccer player comes up to you in Paris, you gotta go. You gotta go, okay? You gotta go. But I share that because it's an individual process. Thank you, Sebastian, for the roses. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I received your gift. Thank you, Eric Banks. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for sharing the live. Yeah, I think me cheating on, we're getting really honest. I didn't think I was going to get this honest on this live. Me cheating on my partners was just me being really afraid of true intimacy and love. Now, as a 40-year-old woman, I can say that. It was like a protection. And it has taught me the beauty of honesty. Because a conversation can be had. Yeah. And I was being true to myself as well. I was. I just also, I had spoken about a time where, yeah, soccer players and their abs, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Where I felt this incredible sense of control from just how the perception of how men have shaped our thoughts and bodies being a woman. How long ago was what? Muff Dive to clarify. And thank you for continuing to like and share the live. Because I had a very traditional father, I have a very traditional household, and I am who and what I am. I am not, I just do what I want. I've had a girlfriend. I've like really, when Audrey said like, where does this come from? It's because I've just done what I've wanted to do, and I don't put a label on what. I'm just Hope. I'm Hope. I show up as me. Don't say Hope is this because she's the black girl from I'm Hope. Whatever you think of, whatever label you see from me probably doesn't align. I do what the F I want. I go where I want to go. I live where I want to live. I do what I want. If I want to shave my hair off, I'll shave it off. If I want to leave a career and start something else, I will. And there's a power in that. But that power comes from trusting that I can create it. And there's a lot of individuals that just don't believe they can create what they want. And that's it. I'm not depending on a religious figure, a job, my parents, society. Nothing outside of me can create what I want in life. Period. Period. This is why when I speak, yeah, freedom is a big thing for me, but freedom is like freedom of movement, freedom of time, freedom. This is why I loved flying, because I had freedom of movement. I did not want to check into the same place every day. I did that when I worked at my dad's office, and I was like, ugh, fluorescent lighting and going to the same office? Y'all around the coffee maker talking about people? I don't want it. I've always loved traveling. I traveled as a kid. I want to explore the world. I want to learn languages. I want these stories of these fabulous men from all around the world and friends all around the world. So I'm not listening to the news saying it's terrible there. I have a friend that I could call up in Brazil, or I go see them, or I go to Belgium and hang out, or I have friends in France or the UK or Japan. Like, I have built that. For me, pushing back on everything else. For me, I don't have any children, no. Although my niece was like, yes, you do, me, because I'm like the favorite auntie. I have built that through everything. I have built me through people saying, well, I wouldn't do that. Well, I had, let me share with you, at my father's celebration, I had a family member and a lot of people on both sides, but specifically, yeah, exactly. Well, all of my friends are all around the world. They're all around the world. And we'll do like FaceTimes, or I'll just go see them for a couple of weeks. But I had a family member, and most of my dad's side is very scholastic. They're all academics, not just masters. They have doctorates from these prestigious universities, and they feel that that is the best way to accomplish life. I don't negate that. I feel there's several ways to live a life successfully, how you choose. I do not believe that having a college degree is the only way to live life successfully. That's ridiculous. In fact, that's why a lot of people don't feel that they can create what they want, because the belief is, I went to school for this and this is all I can do. No. You are a limitless being. You can do whatever you want. People fart into jars and sell it online. Like, now is the time. You can do whatever you want. I don't even care about that. When someone says I went to this college, great. I don't know what that means. I was in this fraternity. Great. I don't know what you're telling me about a fraternity that you were in 20 years ago. Dude, you're 45. Thank you, Ellie Fisher. Why are you telling me this? Yeah, sell some feet pics. But this family member said, you know, you speak like you are education is important. Here's the thing. Often when I say I'm not negating it, it's not one or the other. It's what you choose. Education is important. Knowledge is important. Skill is important. How it pertains to you is important. People can say whatever they want to say. If you feel it's important, then what people say has no importance for your life. And I will always believe that knowledge and the ability to learn will always get you far. Because if you do not have the ability to learn, everything in life is learned. Everything. Everything. But if there's not an ability or a willingness to learn, then that may stump growth. Yeah, I'm not challenging you, Nia. I'm not challenging you at all. And I believe that, absolutely. What I'm sharing is everyone has their own individual way. Everyone has their own individual way. So it's never a challenge and it's never a talking down to. What I was sharing was a family member had shared with me, you sound like you're a college professor, are you? And I said, no, I'm a professional speaker. I did a TED Talk a few months ago and I've been doing this and that. And she said, oh, well, now you need like your PhD because people won't believe you if you don't have that. That is what I'm talking about. That to me is BS. A skill is a skill. My skill of speaking and storytelling is truly a skill. It's truly a skill when I was on that TED stage with all these other scientists and PhDs. It's not one or the other. It's a skill. And everyone's path is different. So to share with someone, you must do this, I don't know. If I had a child who excelled in one thing, whether it was art, music, making things, I would allow them to explore that. I would allow them to explore that. And there's so much knowledge that is available now for free. Yeah, I don't really care. I remember when my TED Talk was announced and my sister said, well, everyone has letters, PhDs after their name. You're the only one that doesn't. And I said, well, yeah, I have HOPE. I was chosen. That's how you feel. Often individuals are speaking their own limitations. So when I'm invited to speak at schools and colleges, this is a skill that is teachable. When I really speak, people actually pay me more than your average college graduate. But understand, this took years to harness this skill, right? I actually don't care what path you choose, as long as you feel it's the best path for you. My knowledge, because knowledge is coming from what you know and what you learn. My time in school is still helpful for me. I also had an experience that most won't have. Yeah, if you want to learn, I do have all of that coaching in my link in bio. I also have confidence that I can do anything. So I'm never feeling intimidated. That's the only difference. Wherever I go, I don't feel intimidated. I don't feel intimidated. There's often people that just feel intimidated when I speak another language. I often have people say, well, how many masters do you have? Look at all the languages you learn. My dad would say that's the lie they taught you. It is a fallacy. I am knowledgeable because I like to learn. I've always been smart and a bookworm. I'm learning, and I'm often in different places where I have to learn. If I'm in Brazil, I'm not listening to the news of the US. I'm immersed in the culture of Brazil and learning what's there. When I would spend times in different West African countries or Norway or all of these countries, I have a wealth of knowledge from being in these places. I'm not opening a book, I'm there. And there's spaces for both. I'm never talking down to what someone chooses to do in life. Let me also share this. If you got to argue for what you've done, it shows your lack of self confidence. And it's picked up on immediately. This is why I don't I don't argue. Everyone to me is right. Everyone has their perspective of life. I won't see your life the way you see it because I wasn't born at the time that you were born and saw everything you saw to this moment that the time we met. I wouldn't know. How arrogant for me to expect you to see life how I see it. I came from a very privileged, wealthy background. How can I say that I know everyone's experience? I don't. That's the reason why I say I can do anything. I didn't have to struggle. I've always had someone saying, go ahead, try. That's where I built my confidence because I always had the foundation of, yeah, go, do it. No one said, well, I want to do that. You don't make no money from that. You got to help with the bills. We getting the lights cut off. I never had that. So whenever someone has a perspective, you're right. You're right. As soon as you want to argue for why someone is wrong, I'm taking that as you just have a lack of confidence. Period. That's it. And you may just actually not like where you're at in life. A lot of the power you hear when I speak also comes from me really building my life. Building it in every moment. Everyone has a different perspective. Yes, of course. I've seen it. I've traveled a lot. All of my friends are from all over the world. And it's not just that we talk once a year. I go and spend time with them and with their families in different countries. I have a wide perspective. Why am I going to argue over your perspective? That's ridiculous. It shows that you don't even have the courage to find the confidence in you to say, hey, well, that's how they feel. That comes from a space of not feeling confident. You have to live life this way. I don't know how you should live your life. I honestly don't. I know how I've lived mine, and I change all the time. And I come from this background in this society. For me to say you have to do this and believe in this religion and go to this school, that may not pertain to someone from Australia or Beijing or somewhere else in life. Have perspective to say, I don't know, and that's okay. That takes a knowledgeable, confident person to say, I don't know, but I'm willing to learn. Or I'm not willing to learn, but I don't need to argue that my space trumps theirs. Because we don't have to have similarities. Energy finds energy. In fact, none of us are the same. That's what makes us the same. None of us are the same. We may have things. I like pizza. Oh, I like pizza. Everyone in the world likes pizza. Like it doesn't mean anything. But when I can step back and say, oh, I see that. Okay, tell me more. That allows me the space to grow into your perspective instead of pushing back. Especially as a speaker, I don't even have the luxury to do that. I don't have the luxury to do that. I actually love people. I love humans. I love the human experience. I want to learn more. I'm listening more. I ask a lot of questions. Why? Because I want to really experience. The opposite can be the norm. I'm not asking them. They voted for them. They must be the. I don't know. Listen, I know so many people that may have voted for such and such, but they like them some hope, okay? I've never, I know some people that may be labeled as conservative, but they were trying hard to get me. I don't care. All of this is there at times to bring people apart. Love a person, love them by learning. By learning. And I had to do that. I was never in the same place for my entire adult life. So it's really strange, especially when I come back to the US, but I'm from a smaller town, and I will hear people say, oh, people from this country are terrible because they do such and such. Well, do you know anyone from that country? No. Okay. Have you been there? No. Oh, okay, so you don't actually have any substantiating evidence other than something that you heard. Okay, if that works for you. Sometimes that works for people. I don't know. I'm really in the space of I don't know. Whatever works for you is what works for you. I can tell you this. Everyone makes life work for them in the best way. That's what I know for sure. I can also tell you this. This is a great time to pursue whatever you think is best for you. I am here speaking to you through a phone. What's up, retired Leo Lawrence? And someone may find what I say helpful. I could not do this 25 years ago. 25 years ago, to become a speaker, there was really certain hoops you had to go through. 25 years ago, to write a book, you really actually had to get a literary agent and go through. There's so much available that, yes, I do say college, sure, but there's why. Define your why. Now, if it means something to you to have this knowledge from this specific institution, sure, but all of that information is actually available online. So many, I was on Harvard EDU, which is harvard.com, Harvard's website, and you can take courses at Harvard online. Harvard has job resumes where you can download. Like that thought that people had 30 years ago is done. And a bit of it being pushed is not helpful for younger people. Because that whole thought of your only way to be a successful adult is to commit to a 4-year study, sure, possibly, and there are other ways. I'm saying it's not just one way. I'm not negating the benefits of education, but education also comes from traveling and studying abroad, or traveling and teaching English abroad, or doing other things. Your knowledge is what's going to get you through life. Education is one thing, but if you actually understand what knowledge is versus education, it's two different things. When I had a meetup when I went to the TikTok headquarters last year, and I met these creators who are like 20 years my junior, and they're multimillionaires. I always saw this. Quit lying to these kids and saying you need to do this. People can figure it out. Sometimes you do need guidance. Sometimes you need that guardrail, but that way is done. I also was able to do everything I wanted. I never had student loans. I didn't. No. And I probably wouldn't have ever, because it just didn't calculate. But there is that too. If I have these loans, I took out these loans, I have to build my career in this because I invested so much. There's so many things that are going on once you do that. Learn what you like. And I also believe, and I share this with my niece, sure, school is great. Sure, whatever. Um, Go out and try a few things. You want to try as many things as you want. That was the greatest thing with flying. I had a full-time career with benefits where I could still try things. So when I wanted to go into politics, I helped with campaigns, and I helped with grassroots organizations, and I did polling places. When I wanted to go into fashion, I did that. When I wanted to sell vintage clothes, I've done like so many things. Quit telling these people let me share this with you. I remember a family member said when they graduate, they have a full-time job. I said, that is horrible. That is actually horrible, in the sense that now you're coming out of school, you're 22, you're locked into this job that you don't even want. You don't want it. But everyone has said, this is the greatest idea for you. I think you should go and get this full-time job with these benefits. That's where it starts. That's where it starts. As someone who said, F it, I'm going to find out about life now. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll build it. Because now you're 22, you're doing a job that you hate. You never even wanted to do it. But you don't have the courage and the confidence to step outside of your parental figures or your family, which is a part of life. You will have to step up and say, I'm not doing that. I don't care how much you paid for my schooling. I'm not doing that. I want to do this. I want to try this. Commit a year, 18 months, 24 months to it. If it doesn't work, come back. Try something else, especially in your 20s and even 30s. Really, your whole life is that time to try a few things. We aren't even in the space now where you have a career for the rest of your life. Your career could be you talking like this. Your career could be I braid hair and I make YouTube videos braiding hair. Your career could be I learned how to pot plants and now I paint the plant thing and I sell them online. But you won't know until you have the courage and the confidence to say, Mom, Dad, Auntie, cousin, brother, I ain't doing it. I'm trying this. Try as many things. This is why a lot of y'all are miserable. You don't even have the courage to be who you are in your job, in your professional life, in your personal life, in your beliefs. You just want to make sure that, people said this is what I should do. I don't listen to people, somebody's, or everybody's. Everybody says this. I don't listen to them. Well, somebody told me this. Why am I listening to I'm somebody. I don't need to listen to somebody. I'm somebody. Make it make sense. When I'm on here sharing with you, this is honesty and truth because it's trial and error. That's all life is. Choose and build your life because a lot of people are listening to people that never tried and they are just telling you all the things that they are afraid to do. I'm not listening to you. You've been miserable your entire life. You've been in a marriage you've hated your entire life, and you want me to listen to you? Kick rocks. Kick rocks. You don't even want to be married to a man. We are not going to have that conversation either. I'm sharing this as someone who's done it. One of my nieces said, oh, I have a crush on a girl. I said, oh yeah, I've done that too. Go for it. You won't know until you try. Like, maybe it's just a crush. I don't know, but you're like 20. To listen to someone who says, I wouldn't do that, that's against God's will. Well, for them, yes, but maybe it's just something that you have to try. I don't know, but there's a beauty in developing you by trying. There's nothing that is taken from you when you try. There's only what's given to you. And this is why I'm so honest. There's a lot of things I've just said so much that I actually haven't said before. And the beauty of that is when you do it once, you strengthen that muscle to do it again. You strengthen that muscle to do it again. You strengthen that muscle to do it again. You strengthen that muscle to do it again and again and again. And then you get to a space where I'm not listening to you. I'm me. Exactly, V does it. That's how you learn. That's how you learn, through trial and error. That's how you learn. Thank you, Nia, for sharing the live. When I say be honest with people, because cheating on people doesn't really work, that's because I've cheated on people. And it is hurtful, and it is really just a selfish decision that all it would take is a conversation. I also had a conversation with my partner and said, hey, I like this person. I'm going to go do this. So we can break up or you can stay with me, but I'm going to do it regardless. And the person said, all right, we'll go try and I'll be here. You never know what the feedback may be. You never know. But until you're honest with yourself, you'll always be in that space of, what if? What if? You have to live. And living isn't for the weak. It's courage rewards the brave. Meaning, I don't want to do that. I want to try this. You will be rewarded. Okay. So I will call you in because I always call in, not call out. So Audrey, when you type be considerate, everyone can't follow world dreams. Let me ask you, why is the statement everyone? Because it's never about everyone. If it's about you, then it could be, hey, I could not. But everyone gets their own choice of what they choose to do. And also, even starting the sentence with be considerate, the tone of that is stating, shift what you are saying really for you. So no. And everything I'm saying is always considerate because I'm considering myself. I don't know what everyone in the world should do. This is why I say this is what I have done. And I've even said in this live, I don't know what you should do. You know what you should do. But starting with be considerate and then saying everybody, it's not about everyone. We're speaking in first person. If it's you, then it can be shifted to I wasn't able to follow my world dreams. There's a difference. There's a difference. And someone has to take that to the length. Okay, sure. But I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I speak in I. This is why when I speak, I am saying I. I don't know what people should do. If you're speaking for everyone, unless you know the intention of everyone, it's falling on deaf ears. Yeah, you are able to do what you choose. But if you're already saying, I'm not able to, well, then state that. State that. You're also talking to, it's not that that's a pain point, but how am I going to form this? It's really sharing your own limitations for how you see how you can show up in the world. And I understand that. I have compassion for that. But I don't, you create what you see is best for you. And that often is why I will share, listen, because individuals will speak their limitations. This implies that this was done with ease. This was done with ease. I make this look easy, but I don't actually care about ease or hard. I'm going to do what I want to do. And someone may benefit from that. So I will continue to share and speak in my own way, how I have on all my platforms, and why I am paid to speak like this. So when you are in my live, you be considerate on the limitations you're placing on yourself. So that's all a part of it. That's all a part of it. That can be used to push you further, because that doesn't create any discomfort in my body. With pleasure. Thank you, Prophet. I will continue to share my honesty because of the people that have been on this live. The support and the help will always come from how I show up. That's it. Do you know what it took for me to do this? Let me tell you. I made that decision in 2020 to leave. What's up, Meg? Thank you for the rose. To leave my career as a flight attendant. And I retired with 15 years and gave myself a year off, and then said within that year, I'm just going to live and be jolly and free, and I will be led to what's next for me. And I knew it was speaking because I was saying, what am I great at? What you're great at is probably the highlight for you. Now, unless you want to move towards it, that's one thing, but it's usually a highlight for you in your life. So I was living in Hawaii, and I then started with the small piece of speaking every day, because I believe whatever you want to do it every day. My dad would say, if you do something every day, you will get better. This is why you do see me on live. So I started with Toastmasters, because Toastmasters was having, and it's a public speaking platform. It helps people become better speakers. I've spoken about it. I've created content on it. And all of the meetings all around the world were meeting online. So I chose, and obviously I wasn't paid for this, to go to 5 Toastmasters meetings a day. So that was between 1 hour to an hour and 90 minutes every day, 4 days a week. I did that for a year. Now, why did I do that? Because then I'm speaking every day, I'm writing speeches, I'm giving speeches, I'm being critiqued, I'm surrounded by speakers, I'm surrounded by people that may want coaching for speaking, I am entering competitions, and it was almost like a school. And I'm sharing this to tell you how I got to this point, because I did not know how to become a speaker. I did not know how to become the Les Brown or Tony Robbins. I just started speaking, and I built up somewhat of a name, because again, this was 2021, and I was just speaking every day on Zoom, like as a job, 5 hours a day, Monday through Friday. And through that, through competitions, people started to know, wow, Hope Williams is kind of great as a speaker. And I started booking events from that. But after a year, I had somewhat plateaued. Because I was doing that every day, and people were inviting me to speak. They were inviting me to be a judge. Like, I'd really spoken all around the world on this platform. So the second year I said, okay, now I have to get in the game. Now, when I first started, I thought I was the best ever. And I was like, I just need to get paid for speaking. That's not how it starts. That's not how it starts. So the second year was 2022. And I started doing more events like online through people that I met through Toastmasters, Kiwanis Club, Lions Club, Rotary, in Hawaii, and online, because a lot of places were still online. And I had said, okay, I've gained my voice as a speaker. I've gained what I will speak about. I see what I want to speak about, but I was still figuring it out. And I started actually speaking in person. Now, 2023 is when I said, okay, I need to be on a platform. I had not been on social media. I had kind of sworn it off in 2010. And so I wasn't on any social media. And that's when I had to confront my fear of being seen, because I'm great at what I do, but I had a fear of being seen. I had a fear of others seeing me speak. I had a fear of people seeing me try. I had a fear of just probably social media at large. But I said, yeah, but why? Well, you feel like you're going to be judged. Okay, so what? Well, you know how that feels. That's hurt you in the past. Okay, but what's the other option? The other option is what I'm doing, not being on the platform. That doesn't get me out there. That doesn't allow me to use my voice. So I'm just going to have to work through this and show up. So then that is when I said, okay, I am not doing all of these platforms. I'm doing short form. Thank you, V does it. I'm doing short form, which will be TikTok. I'll do long form, which will be YouTube, and I will concentrate on those, and I will post consistently. I was always intentional. It wasn't about a thirst trap. Now, I could do a thirst trap, but it was always about being completely intentional. Let me move so I'm in the light. And that is when, let's see, I think this is nice. That is when I decided to show up on TikTok. Now, if you scroll all the way to my first TikTok, it is me sitting you have to do this and you have to do that. It was what I thought I would be seen as a speaker. And thank you, Ms. Kennedy, for following. It has developed, because even on this live, the more that I interact, the more that I show up, the more that I am consistent, I am seeing that, yes, I'm motivating from my story. So someone has been inspired from me speaking about my celibacy or something of this nature. And that's what's important. And I share that because the journey was started years ago. The journey was really started when I said, I know that's what I want to do. I'm going to give myself time before I start showing up every day. So it really started maybe in 2020 after I retired. I did not start the journey, but I knew. And it wasn't until, I had events and other things, but the TED Talk last year was a big turning point. And a lot of that was, there was a bit of fear of being seen, but a fear of oh, okay, this is really developing into what I want. And what does that mean? That means that I gotta show up. That means that I have to hold myself accountable. That means that I may have those that do not, that feel whatever way. I actually, when I say everyone's right, everyone is right. Everyone is right. the somewhat audacity to share, hey, don't say this. No, that's not how it works. Humans are able, for me, perspective is you show up. You show up daily, consistently. How others respond to how you show up may be dictated in your response, but you show up. There's a reason why I speak of confidence. Nothing really gets me off my game, because why should it? Why should it? If I'm just showing up, really speaking my story, why do I need to defend my story? I don't. It's only if I slightly agree or not feel worthy or feel some sort of lack in myself that I feel, oh, I gotta tweak that. I'm not doing that. Kick rocks. No. Your lack of belief in yourself does not bring down the belief that I know I have. Let me repeat that. Your lack of belief in yourself and you justifying why you don't believe in yourself brings no difference of feeling of how I feel about me. And there's a reason why I stand in my power, and I am always speaking about confidence because it shows up when people are triggered, which happens. When I'm triggered, I know that's for me. That's not for me to share with someone, you triggered me, you need to stop. A trigger actually means, oh, whoa, that's a pain point. Something came up. Something wants attention within myself. There's something that maybe needs to be healed, but it's not for me to signal to someone else. I have compassion for it, but I don't really have time to pacify it. Let me share that with you too. I will not pacify your lack of belief of yourself. I'm only going to uplift you. When you try to justify why you don't believe in you, that is actually the sign for you to say, whoa, wait a minute. Whoa, this has something to do with me. I love me. I like me. That's the work I got to do on me. As I said, the lack of belief in you has no trigger for the belief in me. I will still speak life into you. There's the difference. Thank you, Miss Kennedy, for liking the live. There's the difference. And it's not that I won't stand for it. It just doesn't go anywhere. But I shared that journey because this is like a 3-4 year journey. Thank you, Anna Garcia, for the follow. This is a 20-year thing. When I said I'm setting out to be a speaker, this is a 20-year process. This is like my legacy career. This isn't, oh, I'm just doing this for money. That's already there. But this is a legacy career. This is a 20-year thing. You see me here daily. Daily. I'm already presenting myself as the magnificent speaker. It takes time. If anything gets in the space to derail me, that's just for me to grow. Yeah, and it is a life purpose. That's the other thing. It may not be understood because this is like purposeful for me. This is purposeful. You don't see the tears or the self-doubt. Now, you can share your self-doubt, but I'm still here to uplift you. No one ever sees anything but the victory. You won't see the people that said, why are you doing that? That is ridiculous. I would never do that. You think you could do that? No one sees that. I've grown through that. And I'm sharing this because it really is sparked by when Audrey said, be considerate. No. This is my journey. This is my journey. And you got to understand that this ish takes more than what you see. Okay? I have consistently shown up with the passing of my father, with the shifting from where I lived in Hawaii back to California, with planning my father's service, from doubting and wanting to quit and delete all of this and get a regular job. How dare you come into my space and speak that? You don't know. And that's why I say your self-doubt will not rain on this confidence parade at all. At all. And that's all it shows up as. Is your own lack of belief in yourself. And all I do as a speaker, I know words well. So back to quickly, consideration means careful thought. When Audrey typed be considerate, every word I speak has intention and careful thought. Me being a wordsmith, I often understand that a lot of individuals don't know the definitions of the words that they speak. And so knowing that would change how you would speak. But I share that to say, sometimes it takes that to be great. On a journey to be great, on a journey, that's a part of it. That doesn't derail me. That's a part of it. If I shared with you all of the possible hurtful things that family members have said about my journey, it doesn't get to me. I know how beneficial this is for someone else. Even in the times where I wanted to give up, it's like, did you come this far just to give up? It's a part of it. It's a part of it. And I like for others to see this. Because when I say I have what it takes, you have to. Most won't. When I share most are just held back by their own limitations, you'll see it in how they speak. You'll see it in how they show up. You'll see it in how they tease others. But your victory for what you're building has to be seen, because someone is being encouraged. Someone is. Someone is. And I speak to all of the someones. When I go to my link in bio and watch my TED Talk, that was real. Me being on a flight that went down with a left engine failure shifted my life. I know this ain't a game. When my dad died, I was like, why else would I wander around this thing called life just aimlessly? I have an aim. I have a goal. What I do, I believe, gives back. Get out of the way if you aren't for it. There's people here doing the work and you don't know what it takes because you will not give yourself what it takes. There's a difference. As I said, I have compassion for it, but move to the side so we who are building can continue to build. That's the difference. When you're building something, it's going to be constant. This is every moment of my life, and I love it. This is why I can say these things and this doesn't get to me. There's a bigger passion. And unless you're building a passion, I understand why you don't understand it. Not everyone will. I don't expect everyone to do it. You also have to understand the expectation that everyone will get what I do is never there. It's not for everyone. It's for the ones that resonate with it. I'm mature enough and intelligent enough to know there's a difference. When you come into my live, you are speaking to someone who left school to travel the world, who went through all of these things, who've lived outside the country, who's done all of this, a lot of times by myself. just to build myself into this indestructible person to say, what is next? What is the next dream that I'm building? You can really go have a glass of water and kick rocks. Someone will feel encouraged by this. And it means that much to me. For me to break through the chains of fear of being seen, for me to break through the chains of money blocks, of all of the internal blocks that I've had to release from myself. For real, when I say kick rocks, that's the nicest way I could say it. Because I will not allow fear to hold me back. I know this thing is going to end one day. This thing will end. And when I say this thing called life, I am only doing what I choose to do. There's the big difference. If you're doing what people say you should do, you ain't going to get it. And I don't think you will. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than me. My vision is bigger than me. It's actually not even about me. Sometimes to be misunderstood is just a part of it. So, the intention of this live was not this, but I like where it went. I am going to come on again. I think I'll come on. I'll charge my phone and come on again. Yeah, it's not about me so much. There's parts that are, sure. Thank you, Miss Light. Thank you. And thank you, Miss Light, for being here, encouraging those to tap the screen, to donate. Go to my link in bio. I do have speech coaching if you would like a speech coach, as well as I have clarity coaching. If you just need help, like, of course, it's a perfect time to run errands. Like, I have this decision to make. That's there. If you want to send anything to help, I have a Confidence Booster, a free ebook. When you click my link in bio, all you would need to do, thank you, Paulina, is enter your email, and it's a 18-page ebook. The one before wasn't the high quality, so now you'll be receiving the high quality ebook. And it's just tips to help increase your confidence. It's free, as well as my TED Talk, which is in my link in bio. You can actually watch it from my link in bio. You can subscribe to my YouTube, Hope is Speaking, where I post all of my YouTube lives. If you would like to work with me as a content creator or have me speak either virtually or in person, or have me on a panel or a podcast, that is there, or you can email me there. And when I get off, I do need to update that because I'm speaking at a retreat, so I will be putting all of the events that I'm speaking on and continuing to build. But I don't take this lightly because people do gain something from my voice and what I have to say. If there's a trigger, understand that that's a beautiful space for the individual who feels triggered to grow into. But that ain't about me, baby. So that's what I do. I am Hope. I am a professional speaker. I come on, I speak every day. This is a part of my training ground. And I love everyone that donates, that have donated. Miss Light had said, yeah, donate. If I'll put some links in my the link at the top of my page. However, things are lining up, and this was exactly the message that needs to be heard. I don't really plan for what I'm going to say. It kind of just comes, and we'll do another like sundown speech talk. Because I'm opening up more. I did not know there was areas that I would speak of. And it's helpful when individuals find some sort of help in what I do. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And now I'm going to go eat and answer emails, do what I have to do, and I'll come back on. Thank you for liking the live. We got up to over 11,000 likes. Thank you to all that have followed me, subscribed to my YouTube. Thank you for anyone who donated, because I see those. Sometimes I see them later, and I'm like, oh, that was so nice. It really just adds to what I do, and I appreciate everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Light. I know I really was speaking about topics that I did not know I was going to speak about, but now I'll go make content because it means that it's helpful for someone. And that is what I appreciate. So if you subscribe to me, set your, like, a reminder, because I don't really have a set time. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Miss Light. I don't have a set time. I just come on when I feel inspired. And it's always all good. So continue to spread the word of hope. And as I say on all of my lives, be the reflection of love, because we all come from an infinite source of love. Show up, show up, show up, show up. I actually had to push myself to show up, but as soon as I show up, it just starts. And so when I say show up, it means truly show up for you, show up for your family, show up for your new way of life, show up as a more positive being, show up. But if you say, oh, I'll do it when I have the money, I'll do it when I lose weight, I'll do it when I get a divorce, that's not showing up. There's like ladybugs flying all around me. There's a lot of luck and a lot of beautiful things happening. This is really beautiful. So show up. And finally, don't test me. Don't come for me. Well, actually, you can. You can. I'm just a confident, cool, calm, and collected wordsmith. So you'll learn something. Okay? That's all I'll say. I will see you later. Thank you, Miss Light, for the ladybugs.